Welcome and thank you for joining us in this 30-day challenge. We're grateful for everybody who's responded and been willing to participate with us. We think this is going to be really meaningful. My name is Robbie Harmon, and I'm the president of Ampelis. We have Kurt Henderson and Kim Stoddard on the phone, who you'll get to hear from in just a minute. But first, just want to, again, express gratitude that you would join us in this. It's been a fun journey. Over the past several years, we've been building this company, Ampelis, and focused a lot on how to help people live a meaningful life. And it's really about helping people live their potential. It feels like all of us have limitless potential, yet we have to have the discipline and some support to unlock that potential, whether that's neurologically, psychologically, physically, spiritually. We've tried to figure out what practices and what patterns exist across different disciplines of study and across time to help people really live a rich and meaningful life. So we're excited to share some of that with you in this 30-day challenge and hopefully make it easy to engage with some of those concepts and principles. So I'll let Kurt take it from here to really introduce some of the foundational concepts underlying how we approach this conversation of meaning with families, with individuals, with corporations, and where we've seen some great success over the past several years.
Perfect. Thanks, Robbie, and thanks everybody for joining. We're really excited for these 30 days. I know we're all leaning in and kind of full throttle in this, and we've seen the way that it's impacted lives. So we said, let's open this up, and we've got a great number of people joining. So we wanted to foundationally introduce, there's a lot of ways to set a goal. There's a lot of ways to have transformation and change. And across all the research and everything we've done in our clients, ranging from professionals to families to corporations, professional athletes, you name it, the way we've worked with them, we've seen commonalities where meaning is found. You can win a massive championship and still feel empty. You could be making all the money in the world and still have hollowness. And so what we want to invite everybody is to discover meaning. And meaning is found, and we believe here at Ampelis that meaning is an individual pursuit that is either the development of self or a relationship with others or connection to divine. So development of self may be something like you're trying to change certain habits. It could be anywhere from technology habits. It could be eating. Your relationship with others may be those in your neighborhood. It may be with a spouse. It may be with children. It may be with parents. Or connection to divine. It may be mindfulness or nature or connection to a higher being. So as you focus in these three areas, that is where we found that meaning is manifested. And that's where you have wholeness and you have purpose. And so this is kind of where we know that meaning is found and where you'll see a lot of the foundational principles going through this 30-day challenge. So where is meaning found is first the self, others, divine, but how do we cultivate it? You have to have an awakening experience. Sometimes awakenings they're uncomfortable, they're unfamiliar. Sometimes there's high competencies in those. You'll have an awakening within one of these three areas of development of self, relationship with others, or connection to divine. Once you have this awakening, you must take action. So as you've identified this, now you begin to align your life. So as you go through this 30-day challenge, you're going to have these awakenings or these aha moments. Say, I want to better align my life to be congruent with that area and further develop it. As you begin to align and you begin to live that, and there'll be exercises of gratitude and reflection, follow-up accountability with the systems we have in place through these 30 days, you'll begin to renew not only yourself, but be giving back to those around you. You will not be giving back in a monetary or a physical way, but you'll feel emotionally this give back in this heightened energy and perspective and confidence in yourself. So this is where meaning is found and how we cultivate this meaning. We'll send you these slides. You'll be able to review them, but this is base foundations of where meaning is found and what this whole challenge is based on.
Awesome. I wanted to just talk 1 minute about when you're coming into an experience like this, a 30-day challenge. Sometimes there's a question of, what do I focus on? What do I find meaningful? And just like Kurt talked about, having those awakening moments can sometimes take stillness, and sometimes it takes reflection. Um, in the Ampelis methodology, stillness and reflection is a really crucial part to discovering what is meaningful for you. We love incorporating stillness, and you'll find that when you'll be prompted in taking moments to find stillness and reflection. And I want to challenge you to lean into that, because sometimes taking a minute to think about what is uncomfortable for us is just that. It's really uncomfortable. But our strong emotions actually lead us to what we feel is so meaningful. It leads us to what we value. For example, when you take the prompt, when you take a minute to slow down and to stop and to experience stillness, maybe what comes up for you is, I feel lonely right now. Like I keep feeling this uncomfortable loneliness. And what that leads us to is, you value connection. So don't don't hide from your emotions, don't push them away, but in this activity that you're going to experience of stillness and reflection, lean into it and learn from those emotions. Learn from your emotions what is meaningful to you, and that will lead you to what you should focus on in this challenge.
Awesome. Something that you may be wondering before we go onto the slide, there's something really important to say. You may be wondering why the light in Kurt's room looks better than in my room, and Kim as well. Well, Kurt's using one of those like fancy selfie lights, and Kim's countenance. That's the difference.
Mine's artificial and Kim's is real.
Right. It's important to get that out of the way. This slide that you're seeing right now starts to outline the building blocks of what will constitute this 30-day challenge. And we'll talk for just a minute about that, and then we'll conclude. We have been down the path of trying to figure out how to help people that are dealing with addictions make changes in their life. We've worked with highly functioning individuals and families that are achieving remarkable things in their life, and just trying to help them figure out, how do we take it to the next level and help me feel more fulfilled and purposeful in all the good that I'm already doing. And same thing within teams and organizations. And across all of this, we've really refined how we approach that with different tools. And these are some of the elements that we'll pull out of some of the tools that we've created as a company, and they'll make their way into this 30-day challenge. So let's just talk about what each of those are and why they are here, so you have that foundation as we launch in. The first element that we're going to ask you to do to engage with is what we're going to call a weekly focus. Part of the challenge, and we've all experienced this with our New Year's resolutions, is that we set these goals and they might seem so far away that we don't really focus on them, or we don't really work on them, because the proximity of that goal might be too distant. And consequently, sometimes that doesn't move us to action, and it doesn't keep us moving and progressing towards the goal. And I know for me, that was part of the exciting thing of inviting people to do this little challenge with us, was just thinking about how many times I have personally set New Year's resolutions and then not done much with them after, a couple weeks or a month. And this approach that we're going to talk about really emphasizes the importance of goal proximity, which is going to be found in identifying weekly focuses that you can continue for multiple weeks if you like. But we want to get narrowed down to near-term goals or attributes that you want to focus on for a really achievable or near-term period of time. So that will be the weekly focus. And we'll go through some prompts that will help you identify what those are. You'll hear us refer to something called meaningful intentions, which is the next item on the slide. And this is really an intention to say, achievement of goals or progress towards an attribute or changing a mindset can really be accomplished when we are focused on that thing, but then we identify small things that are very much within our reach to actually do to make progress continually and keep that momentum going towards that thing that we are focused on. And we call these meaningful intentions. You can read the definition there on the slide. And these are intended to be aligned with that focus and centered in the areas of development of self, relationships with others, and connection to divine as the source of where a meaningful life is really found. The third is the practice of gratitude, which there's just volumes and volumes of research on gratitude and what it does for happiness, self-reported happiness, well-being, etc. As Kim's already talked about, reflection and stillness is the next item. We're going to be giving you some prompts digitally coming to your phones to just reflect and think about what has been meaningful, what successes you've encountered, as well as what some of the barriers is the next item might be that are keeping you from accomplishing your meaningful intentions or making progress towards your focus. Those could be things that are events. They could be things that are habits, like I have my phone in my pocket all the time and I respond to emails and text messages when I should be engaging and making eye contact with my kids. Or it could be a limiting belief manifested in a mindset that is wrong. You might say, I don't have time to exercise. And if you have that mindset and you start to notice that, we'd like you to identify that, call that out as a barrier, because that's where you start to say, is that true? And how can I change that mindset? So those are really the building blocks of what now I'm going to show you on this next slide is the 30-day challenge. We're going to start by sending all of you an email, and in that email will be some instructions, but a link to take a kickoff assessment. And in that assessment, there's going to be a series of questions. You're going to put in your phone number so we can then start to send you the text message prompts for links that will do the daily and weekly engagements. But there's also going to be a series of self-assessment questions where you're going to rate yourself in a whole bunch of areas, how you feel about your life right now in those areas that will fall into categories of development of self, relationships with others, and connection to divine. After that self-assessment, there's going to be an opportunity to pause, as Kim already articulated the benefits of stillness and reflection, and reflect and just try to gain some inspiration, whether you pray or meditate, however you approach it, and think about, what do I need to focus on for the next week? And then after you select that an item of focus, we're going to track that and be able to share as a community some of what people are focused on, which is going to be kind of cool to see, not by name, but in aggregate. From there, we'll go in and have you brainstorm. What are some of those meaningful intentions or small daily actions that I could take in the coming week that will help me progress, make progress in that area I'm focused on? So that will really be the substance of that intake or kickoff survey you're going to receive via email. Is there anything, Kurt or Kim, you want to say on that before we go to the daily, weekly?
No, just know, take yourself where you are today. The questions are pretty well thought out, and you're able to just pick certain items that maybe pique your interest or things that you want to start working on. But as you go through the daily and weekly, you're going to be able to adapt. This is going to be kind of a process of discovery and growth. And in the title challenge, it's also going to help you grow, because that's where meaning's found. And that's where you're going to have a lot of joy and happiness through this.
Perfect. Thank you. So after you fill out that kickoff survey, you're going to put in your cell phone number. For a few of you who might be international, it might be email. But for those that are in the United States, you'll receive a daily text message with a link. And in that link, it's going to be super brief. It's not going to take you more than maybe 2 or 3 minutes to complete, but it's going to have a simple question. Did I set and accomplish a meaningful intention today? Just to keep a reminder. And it's also going to help us see, as people self-report their progress, how much of that is correlated to your yeses and nos on doing meaningful intentions on a daily basis. You'll be able to type in, hey, my meaningful intention, the small thing I can do tomorrow, and have that accountability of actually visioning that you're going to do that thing and reporting that to somebody else. And then it'll have a prompt to write 1 or 2 or 3 things that you feel grateful for that day. And so that text message will come on a daily basis. The third element is going to be these weekly text messages that you receive. They'll come on a Sunday morning is when you'll receive the text message, and it will ask you to rate your progress. How do you feel about the progress you made in that thing that you've been focused on this week? Scale of 1 to 7. You'll rate that. Then it'll give you a question about reflecting on your past week. What was particularly meaningful? What successes did you have in your progress that are worth noting? Then it'll ask you to identify any patterns of barriers, whether, again, those are limiting beliefs, mindsets, or habits that are getting in the way of you making progress towards the thing that you're focused on. And then it will finally ask you to select what you want to focus on for the next week. It could be a continuation of what you've already been focused on, which is great if you want to continue working on something, or you might feel like, oh, this isn't really the thing that's going to fill my life with more meaning right now. I want to select something else. That's totally okay too. And we'll be able to, again, track what people are focused on as a group, and we can share. It'll be interesting to see across the 50 or so people that are participating with us what everybody else is working on, and hopefully have some of the benefits of just group accountability and the momentum that's created when you're working on good things with good people. And I think it can be a benefit to all of us. I'll just say, maybe as we conclude, there was a thought that I had years ago that Kurt and I were discussing prior to kicking this off with everybody and reaching out to people. And it was something that Benjamin Franklin did in the early 1700s. He was a pretty remarkable person, but still recognized the need for having other people that were working on improving their lives with him, and how that would help him in his own pursuits of growth. And he organized a group of 5 friends, and they were to really formalize what they called an initiative for mutual improvement. And I just think there's so much wisdom in that, and in what we're doing here, and trying to work on progress together, sharing some of our goals with other people, and being able to see progress and feel the energy that comes from doing this together. So I just, again, will say, I feel grateful that you're willing to do this, or excited to see the outcomes and hear stories, and certainly want to make ourselves available. If you have questions via email, or if you feel stuck, send an email to one of us as we're going through this together, and love to try to help each other. Kurt or Kim, any parting words?
No, just look for the email in your inbox and, fill that out, and you'll be on this 30-day challenge soon enough.
Yeah, we're excited to hear from you. We really want this to be a community, a place where you feel comfortable emailing, this is hard, or listen to this success. We love to hear those things. So please reach out at any time.
You're gonna feel like anytime you set it out to do something that's new and different, there's gonna be moments of energy, and then there's gonna be moments where you might not do it as well as you want to, and you might start to feel discouraged, and that's okay. Doing these things, practicing these habits, or getting into these practices, doesn't mean that your life is gonna be perfect and that you're gonna feel like on cloud 9 or energized all the time. You're still gonna have moments of discouragement. But what we have found is that when we have the discipline to pursue some of these practices we've talked about, we start to find purpose and meaning very quickly as we're reflecting on why we feel discouraged. And then we're able to snap out of it and be much more resilient, much more quickly. So we're excited. We hope you find this helpful. We're grateful, and we look forward to going through this with you.